Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about our society's curse of always wanting more. And whether that be more status, more success, more possessions, more money, bigger house, a fancier car, more followers on social media, whatever form it takes for us, we're going to look into why we crave it, so kind of the sources of that craving, the kind of behavior that it leads to, the effect that has on us and our planet, and maybe some healthier ways of approaching this habit energy within us. So as we're kind of exploring the ways it shows up in our lives, we can ask ourselves, where are the places where I feel this little edge, this constant nag that says I don't have enough, I need more. Or like I'm not enough, my body's not enough, my status in life isn't enough. What I have isn't enough. My house, what I'm providing to my family. And when we observe this, we notice, where's this coming from? Why do I feel this way? And it might be, deeply rooted in a sense of lack. In our society, we've gone through kind of ups and downs, some depressions, depending on what we've lived in our lives. We have also been kind of programmed by media, by maybe our families, our peers. It's also something that's been kind of programmed into our society of this is the way we contribute and keep economy going, is that we buy things, we participate in this cycle of buying and upgrading and then throwing away, and that keeps society moving forward. And in this, I can use myself as an example here of, I feel recently direct pressure of, we have this sweet little house that we have that's, about 90 years old, and built a little studio in the back, and just had our son, and the pressure we feel for having more is like, this house isn't good enough. It's not big enough for our family. Maybe it's not new enough, and that plays into safety. And so when I explore, you feel this pressure, and you explore, where is this coming from? And almost always it's some kind of fear, of deep-seated fear that while it will affect our family negatively, we're being judged, we're not offering enough, we can't have enough. And where we feel those societal pressures as well, we can observe that, and we've felt it quite directly from family members of straight out telling us, you can't live in a house like this. In a statement like, you have to, well, if you're going to stay here, you have to improve your bathroom. You have to have more storage in the bathroom. And we ask ourselves, where is that pressure coming from for them, that they feel that in this. And it's always that fear, like, well, it's not going to be safe enough, or where are you going to put all of your things, or this feeling of desiring us to have success and happiness, and linking that to where we're living. There's this deep association of the larger, more grandiose your possessions, your house, the happier you will be, the more successful. It's a sign of your well-being. And that's been very programmed into us in past generations, that a sign of your happiness, well-being, the security of your future is very much reflective in how much you have. And that other people look at you and see that success in what you have. And so pulling this apart and kind of understanding where this comes from, we can ask ourselves, is that really true anymore? You know, was it ever true that having more equals that happiness and success? And as, you know, my husband and I and our little family reflect upon that, and me and a lot of my mindfulness exercises and practices through it, is I find that nowadays, no, it's definitely not. And in fact, quite the opposite. As that we feel this pressure for more, and that actually, you know, when we observe the effect it has on it, it creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of urgency and pressure. And in the long run, especially with how society is right now, it creates, you know, a heavy burden on us in this generation specifically, because it's a financial burden, time commitment wise, how much you invest in it, risk wise, that all of it is, you know, quite burdensome. And when you look at it, the snowball effect that it can have is it's never ending, that you get the bigger house and then all of a sudden you want to make these improvements and the driveway is not enough, and you know, now you have to fill your house with more things because you have more space, and then you want nicer possessions and furniture. And it's this giant snowball, and then all of a sudden you have all these things, you can't take care of them all. It's too much space. You have to hire a cleaner, you have to hire someone to take care of your yard, and all of a sudden you're not doing the day-to-day living that happens in these spaces, in what you have. And taking care of them becomes a giant burden. You know, if you have this closet full of stuff, you know, it's overwhelming. You look in there and having to organize it and find space for it and choose. You know, they have done studies on what having too many choices does to our brain and our emotional state, and that it actually makes us much more anxious and less happy to have too many choices. And so wherever we got a confusion in our society of linking more with happiness and success, you know, in the mindfulness practices, when you really look at the effect, we need to stop linking those two together, that it's actually quite harmful. And not only that, but the effect ripples out and becomes harmful to our planet. Is that the more we have, you know, then the more we have to throw away, the more we're generating, the more we have to take from the earth to create these things. And we're running out of space on where to put them, where to dispose of them, because we don't use them forever and we discard what we have used. And so thinking about, you know, unlinking these, and that mindfulness of true happiness, which we've talked about before, can really show us, well, where is that really coming from? A feeling of purpose in life, of being fulfilled, of intentionality. It doesn't come at all in these symbols of possession and how much we have, but comes in who we're being, you know, how we get to be present and live the day to day. And as you're being mindful, you might notice that as you're grasping for so much more status and things, that it also takes away from our presence. And if we're so focused on that and all these things and then juggling them and taking care of them, and we're not even present for them. You know, I think about that with the house. I'm not present for my house and loving it and taking care of it if it's so large that I have to hire other people to do all of this. Now I'm not even a part of it. It's not me involved in it. It takes away the presence from our loved ones if we're so focused on that and our attaining our possessions, of how much you have to work and how much more you're thinking about your money and moving forward versus how much time do you have to spend with loved ones or nature or and the things that really bring meaning and purpose to life. And so a healthier way of kind of approaching this would be to take those mindful pauses, and when we feel that pressure to have the next best thing or the next biggest thing or upgrade something, and really take a mindful pause and look into that of, why am I wanting this? What's telling me I need this? What effect will it really have? What will it really bring me? And really play out the domino effect of what you're going to have to do to get it, where your time goes, where your effort goes, where your presence goes. And then in that kind of meditation or contemplation, make sure we return to the heart and ask ourselves, what is it that really matters most to me? If I were, to pass away tomorrow, or I have limited time here, which we all do, what is it I want to spend my time on, and what helps me live with most purpose and intentionality? And it's not the things that I have, it's not how big my house is, it's who I spend time with, it's how I show up for others, for my family, it's how I can find joy in the present moment and play and be outside in nature and be a steward of this planet. It's truly taking care of our family, our loved ones, our planet would mean not adding to all of this materialism and needing more, not adding to the waste we're generating. It would be to really decrease that and show true love for our humanity and the planet. And then saying, okay, well, instead of finding my happiness in buying this thing or having this thing, how else could I do that right now? If you feel that craving coming up, how else could I do that right now? And what am I really needing? And if it's that success or that connection or feeling that sense of providing, say, well, how else could I find success? Could I find it in I'm successful by being a steward of the planet? I'm successful in finding a new way to reduce and reuse, and I'm providing more for my family right now, not by buying this extra thing, but by spending a whole extra day that I have. And I don't have to work extra to get more money, but I spend a whole extra day loving my family with my presence and being here for them in this moment. So I invite you this week to take those moments and reflect when you find that craving of wanting more. Go through that process yourself of reflection before you go through with it. And this was my first day dropping little Miles off at daycare. It was super hard, and I'm also very grateful for the opportunity to dive more into the mindfulness and have that balance in my life and continue practicing. So I'm starting up yoga. It will be Monday evenings 5:30 to 6:30 and Wednesday afternoons 12 to 1. I'm starting my coaching again, and you can sign up for the next intro series through the Rec Center starting on October 14th. I hope to see you all very soon, and I'm excited to be back with the mindful practice.